Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. Everybody, welcome. I hope you had a wonderful time, a wonderful dinner. We're here to celebrate the senior class and members of the class of 2019, and please welcome to our Senior Celebration Awards program. This evening marks the beginning of our annual celebration of the senior class, and we are delighted to honor them for their numerous achievements and contributions to all that made this school year a memorable one. We're going to get right started. At this time, I'd like to invite Ryan Brett, class of 2019, to the podium to introduce tonight's first speaker.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ryan Brett. I am a four-year Kiski student and will be graduating tomorrow with my fellow classmates. I am the son of David Brett, a graduate of Kiski's class of 1981. I am also the nephew of Terry Brett, who is the valedictorian of Kiski's class of 1973. What I am most proud of is that I am the grandson of the legendary Clifford Brett, who was the dean of students for over 30 years, and he was a teacher here from 1946 to 1983. I have heard countless memories and stories of what he's done here, from faculty, alumni, and friends. I have never met my grandfather because he passed away before I was born. Attending Kiski afforded me the opportunity to find a relationship and fall in love with my grandfather, who I had never met. As it is often said, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I would now like to introduce my father, who has inherited all the wonderful traits of my grandfather and has helped shape the young man that I am today. Please welcome my father, David Brett.
Thank you, Ryan. Welcome, everybody. About 2 months ago, I received a text from my wife while I was at work. It stated that I was to call Mr. Bruningson immediately, as an email would come in that he needed to speak with me. She was sure that our son, Ryan, had gotten himself into some sort of trouble. Call him ASAP, she said. I did as she instructed and spoke with his assistant, Lisa Henderson. She informed me that he was in a meeting and that Chris would call when it concluded. I said thank you and relayed the message to Karen. It didn't stop her from blowing up my phone with countless texts describing all the possible scenarios Ryan could have been involved in. The text didn't stop for the next half hour. She even had me worried sick. So when Chris called, he said, "Hello, Dave. I just want you to know that this call has nothing to do with your son." So thank you, Chris, for the 40 minutes of hell I endured that day. Chris and I both agreed at that moment that a subject matter would be included in all future emails. The reason Chris was calling was to ask me to be the parent speaker here today. I should have declined after what he put me through, but I realized at that moment what an honor it would be to speak here this evening. I could also never disappoint the headmaster, who without him, Ryan would not have attended the Kiski school. When Ryan started here, I only knew Mr. Bruningson as the school's headmaster, but I really have become close with him over the past 4 years. For what this man has done for myself, my family, and especially Ryan, I will be eternally grateful. Thank you again, Chris, from the bottom of my heart for nurturing, teaching, and guiding Ryan to become the young man that he is today. Imagine, if you will, being born and raised on the campus of the Kiski School as I was. It was like having a 300-acre backyard. I know every square inch of this place, from the old summer camp to the cliffs of the spring trail behind Vlahos Hall. As my wife puts it, it was like growing up in La La Land. At a very young age, I learned how to golf on Kiski's 9-hole course, play tennis and swim practically in my backyard, and even play hockey on the pond. We played hockey on the pond back then with fellow students and my father, who was an awesome hockey player from his native land of Canada. I even learned how to snow ski here because back then Kiski used to have its own ski slope equipped with a rope tow thanks to former teacher Jake Ziegler. I have nothing but fond memories from my childhood all the way through my 4 years as a student. Probably the greatest aspect of growing up here was that I never learned to judge a person by his or her race or religion. Students from all ethnic backgrounds and from all corners of the world have always been accepted and welcome here. As a father, I had always hoped that one of my children would be able to experience Kiski like I had. Our oldest son, Jake, thrived in his public school, eventually graduating near the top of his class of nearly 500 students. During his senior year, he was not only elected president of his class, but he was also the president of the National Honor Society. Our middle son, Hunter, would have been a perfect fit for Kiski. However, his ice hockey skills had him playing in the Junior Hockey League, and Kiski's program was just in its inception, so that ruled him out. So Ryan was our last hope, and boy, did he need this place. We live in an excellent public school district, and Ryan was receiving a top-notch education, but he desperately needed a change of scenery. In his school, Ryan was just another number, where the top students and the challenge students received all the special programs. As persistent as we were, Ryan did not qualify for any of the extra services they offered, but he really needed it at this point of his life. It used to take Ryan, Karen, and myself working collectively to finish his homework and prepare him for tests, and I'm talking about middle school. He did well on the test because his mother had him take 3 to 5 practice tests that she would make up for him before he even took an exam. We couldn't keep this up, especially Karen. The homework battles between Karen and Ryan were reaching epic proportions. I've told many of our friends over the years that our household would have been ranked as the #1 reality show on television if a cameraman would have been stationed in it. I kid you not. It was time for Kiski, and boy, did it pay off. From the time that Ryan set foot on this campus as a freshman, he has exceeded all of our expectations, as he has made the honor roll every single grading period. What pleases us most are his mostly A effort grades he has received in all of his classes. Sometimes they're worth more than the grades themselves. Kiski, with its small classes and boy-centered teaching, has been the perfect fit for our son. The three of us agree that sending Ryan to Kiski was the easiest and best decision we ever made. Thank you to all the faculty and all the staff here for what you have done for our son. From my days as a student here at Kiski, there were only 4 faculty members still teaching when Ryan started as a freshman. It was comforting to know that there were a few familiar, friendly faces still around. There are even 2 faculty brats, or should I say children of faculty from my era like myself, in Mary Grace Muster and Steve Salasi. We did lose J-Lo to retirement last year. No, not Jennifer Lopez. The J-Lo, John Lombardo. He was and still is one of Ryan's all-time favorites. At least Andy Muffling and Doug Yoder were nice enough to wait for this year to retire. And here's a fun fact. Mr. Yoder's been a teacher here for nearly 40 years. His first graduating class was mine in 1981, and his last will be Ryan's, the class of 2019. Good luck to both of you in retirement. So the final 4 will be down to 1, Mark Orsatti. He started his career here in 1978 as my Spanish 1 teacher. He's on pace to shatter the longevity record for a faculty member here at Kiski. Way to go, Mr. O. Over the past 4 years, we've had plenty of off-campus visits at our home with Ryan's friends. What we found out early was that these boys can eat. On one Sunday evening, we had dinner before the boys were to head back here to campus. Karen made a huge pasta dish. It was self-serve for everyone, and Karen and I were last in line. By the time we made it to the pot of pasta, there was nothing left. We could have cared less that there was no food for us, but we still had a table full of hungry boys. Time did not permit us to make something else, so literally on our way back to campus, 45 minutes later, we stopped at McDonald's for double cheeseburgers for everybody. I'm the breakfast chef at home, and my specialty is chocolate chip pancakes. Many of you remember our good buddy Nico. Well, he initially set the record by eating 16 pancakes. The following weekend, Justin and Jaden broke the record. One of Karen and my favorite memories was when we called the boys up from the basement where they had been engaged in a massive dart gun battle for dinner. When they arrived at the table, Kanan was still wearing his dart ammo belt on an angle across his chest as if he was in an actual war. He ate his dinner in this attire and then promptly made his way back to battle after dinner. It was hysterical watching this grown boy eat his dinner with no reservation of how silly he looked. Over the years, we've had the likes of Eric, Griff, Kai, Felix, Horace, and others to our home and to our cabin in West Virginia. We sat by the fire with Cole and Michael and Kobe and have enjoyed many memorable times with all of them. So seniors, you are now set to graduate tomorrow. You will soon be off to college where you can and should have the greatest time of your life. Just remember to stay focused in your studies and budget your time. Kiski has set the table and prepared you to succeed in the next chapter of your life. I hope you all realize how privileged you are to have received this type of education and preparatory means for you to accomplish great things. I now ask you to applaud the class of 2019 for a job well done. You clapped too soon. Do not forget to include the faculty and staff of this awesome school for surrounding you with a safe and nurturing learning environment. And last and most importantly, I would like the students to stand to applaud us, the parents, who have provided you with the moral support and the financial backing for you to be here tonight. Congratulations, fellow Kiski graduates.
Well, let me say thanks to Dave very much for his great remarks and for everything that his family has done for Kiski over so many years. We really do appreciate it. When I finally did reach Dave that day on the phone and said, the first thing I said was, this has nothing to do with Ryan or anything he did wrong. And he said, oh, I was so worried. And I did say to him, and it's true, that happens all the time with me. So for any of the parents I've given a heart attack to over the years, sorry about that. Our faculty speaker tonight is a familiar face on campus. For 39 years, Doug Yoder has filled many positions at Kiski, including teacher, chairman of the science department, varsity coach for cross country and track, advisor, mentor, and a friend to so many colleagues and boys. To all of these roles, he's brought a unique combination of enthusiasm, intelligence, energy, and humor that's attracted others and inspired them to be better people. To say that his contributions to Kiski have been transformational would be very accurate. To say that he'll be missed when he retires this year would be a huge understatement. Please join me in welcoming tonight's speaker, a Kiski legend, Doug Yoder.
Wow. I thought I was a legend in my own mind. That was it. Dave, that was a great talk. And if you wouldn't have brought it up, I would have. That is a pretty good treat to be bracketed by the Brett family. That's really a good time. Hey, good evening to all. Mr. Bruningson, Mr. Novum, parents, friends, family, and soon-to-be Kiski graduates. I'm really honored and happy to speak with you guys tonight, but I want to start with a few thank yous. First, thank you to Kiski for allowing me to work here for the last 40 years. Wait, I didn't mean that. Play here for the last 40 years. This has been a lot of fun, and it has never been work. And also a big thank you to my esteemed and illustrious colleagues. There could not have been a better group of dedicated, supportive professionals that I could have worked with for all those years. And of those colleagues, I would like to recognize my fellow retiree, Andy Muffley. Over the last 35 years, we've worked together as coaching comrades. We had a coach athletic tandem that was very great relationship. And Andy often served as my sounding board for all of my sometimes wacky and crazy thoughts or ideas. Although our working time together will end, our friendship will remain. And now that Andy and I are leaving, or Saudi, that makes you the oldest guy on campus. Don't laugh, Muster. You're not close. You're pretty close behind. And thank you to the parents that worked to send your sons here, entrusting them to us in hopes of a fine education and maybe a chance to have some fun as well. And thank you for the class of 2019 for allowing me to teach you a little bit about science, a little bit about sport, maybe a little bit about life. And for you, teaching me a lot more than I ever taught you. Your exam scores are proof of that. And thank you to my wife and best friend, Anna, for her support and her ability to inspire me every day to always do my best, and for patiently listening to me when I come home and ramble about what happened at Kiski this day or that day. But to you seniors, you guys are smart. I mean, really, you're really smart. At the most, it's taken you 4 years to get out of here. It's taken me 40. Man, that means you guys, if I can do the math correctly, you're 10 times smarter than me. And I thought I was pretty smart. You guys must know everything. Oh, of course you do. You're teenagers. But now I'm not going to stand up here for very long and talk. I'll be brief. And the reason I'll be short is because, although it's ancient history, I do remember my high school graduation and all the long speeches that were given there. Because with all the excitement and anticipation of graduating, you know what I heard from the speakers? Blah, 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 blah. And what I remembered was blah, 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 blah. All right? Now, I'm sure the speaker did a fine job delivering a talk that offered advice and inspiration to my graduating class of 1492. And in fact, that's why every speaker at graduations is expected to do. Give you advice and some inspiration for your next step in life's journey. But I thought maybe I'd do something different. Instead of giving you advice and inspiration, I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'm going to give you inspiration and advice. Something completely different. Now, what I do want to talk a little about this evening is the connection between experience and education. Now, by experience, I don't mean like if Mr. Bruningsson says Mr. Yoder is experienced. What he's really saying is that Yoder's old as dirt. But that's not the experience that I'm talking about. I mean experience in the realm of the real, all right, such as expeditions and adventures. I've been very fortunate to have a great many of these adventures over the last 150 years. Most of them I can't talk about tonight. But now, I don't know if you're familiar with the organization Outward Bound, but it's an educational model that's based on teaching initiative, self-reliance, and leadership, all in an outdoor, adventure-based environment with a great deal of perceived danger involved. Its founder, Kurt Hahn, offered this view of education. It says, I regard it as the foremost task of education to ensure the survival of these qualities: an enterprising curiosity, an undefeatable spirit, tenacity in pursuit, readiness for sensible self-denial, and above all, compassion. Although we have little perceived danger here at Kiski, I believe it has been our goal to try to lay the framework for you that reflects these qualities. And although this statement was in regard to experiential learning, it obviously applies to the traditional 3 R's learning as well. Now, I'm not discounting the importance of the 3 R's, your reading, writing, arithmetic, but I do want to focus on the value of experiential learning. An old friend of mine, you may have heard of him, Confucius, once said, "What I hear, I forget. What I see, I remember. What I do, I understand." Yeah, that's very true. And if you think back a bit, some of you may have had a similar experience as I did. My mother said, "Don't touch that glowing red spot on the stove." So what did I do? Of course, I touched it. All right? I can still see the scar, and I surely understand that I don't want to do that again. And as a curious young boy, I was wondering one day how pulling a cord can start a lawnmower. I mean, really, how much electrical discharge can such small action generate? Well, how you find out and begin to understand is to put one hand on the spark plug and pull the cord with the other. Woo-hoo-hoo! Man, that was a learning experience. You could just have your buddy hit you in the elbow with a sledgehammer because the feeling was the same. Except that recovery time probably would have been a little bit longer. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do these things or that, like I did, jump off a moving truck at 35 miles an hour and end up in intensive care with a fractured skull. As you can see, I'm an experiential learner. Nor can you understand the magnitude or dangers of the Grand Canyon, for example, from pictures and videos. As my wife will attest, you must hike down on a day when it's 110 degrees and the rangers tell you, don't do it. Then you'll understand. But that's enough about my experiences. Because now I want to ask you to do something for me. But, well, not for me, but for you. I want you guys to become collectors. Collectors of experiences. You may think that some of the ones I just mentioned were bad experiences, but they're not. I've always contended that there's no such thing as a bad experience. That doesn't mean they're all good, but they're definitely not bad. They're just experiences, and the best learning tool that I know. I know that you all have many experiences in the future, some great, some good, some uncomfortable, some embarrassing, some that you're going to be ashamed of, but there will be none that you don't learn from. Therefore, there'll be no bad ones. Try to make some of your future experiences adventurous and perhaps a little dangerous, ones that scare the daylights out of you or make you change your underwear. Expeditions and adventures can contribute greatly towards building strength of character. The author Joseph Conrad in Lord Jim tells us it is necessary for a youth to experience events which reveal the inner worth of the man, the edge of his temper, the fiber of his stuff, the quality of his resistance, and the secret truth of his pretenses, not only to himself but others. So go out and be a collector. You may collect stuff and things, as we all do, but collect experiences. Collect as many as you can. Because if you just collect stuff, all you'll have are things to show. But if you collect experiences, you'll have stories to tell. How much fun is that? Whoa. And, for those of you who had me in class, you know how I love to tell a story. All right? You probably also know my favorite subject. History. All right? History. Wait, I'm the science chair. Come on. All right, no, but history. Well, your collection of experiences is building your personal history. Build it with a strong foundation of quality experiences, some adventurous, some exciting expeditions, and maybe a few shaky or questionable ones thrown in. I don't want you to think, though, that just having experiences is good enough. As the educational philosopher John Dewey reminds us, we do not learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on experience. Take time to think about what you did, what you learned, what the adventure cost, and what you gained in return. Hopefully all of your gains will far outweigh any cost, and you'll have a few more great stories to tell. It is about time for you seniors to leave this place, and for me too. I'm confident that we will have many more experiences and many more stories to tell, and I look forward to hearing some of yours. Before I step away, I want to leave you with a few points to remember besides blah, 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 blah. All right. From Kurt Hahn's quote, tenacity in pursuit. Just remember, never give up on your quest to realize your goals. From my buddy Confucius, what I do, I understand. Do things, get outside, move in the real, not the virtual, reality. Dive in, scare yourself, scare your parents. They'll get over it. And from Joseph Conrad, find the fiber of his stuff. Find out what you're made of. Put yourself in some uncomfortable situations, have an adventure or two, so you have a good story to tell. And finally, from Douglas Yoder, go touch a hot stove. All right. Well, now I'm tired, and if I'm tired today and tired again tomorrow, that means tomorrow I will be retired. All right? Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Doug, for that wonderful speech. Tonight's academic award recipients have been chosen by the faculty. We're proud to recognize these students for their dedication to scholastic achievement. We're going to change it up a little bit, gentlemen, today. So when I call your name, please enter the stage from my right, and you'll receive the award here, and then exit on my left. Okay, little change. So for the first award, the Zachary J. Vlahos Award in History goes to Min-Shuin Wang. The Carl L. Arnold Award in Mathematics goes to Noe Reyes Mato. The John A. Lombardo World Languages Award goes to Bryant Garcia. The Anthony Body Science Achievement Award goes to Aidan Gillespie. Eugene L. Biddle Award for Excellence in Science goes to Edgar Mercado. The Joseph H. Millar Award in English goes to Griffin Donahue. The Excellence in Fine Arts Award goes to Billy Gillis. The Drama Award goes to Danny Ritten. The Music Award goes to Min Xuan Wang. The award-winning research paper entitled "The Effects of Felon Disenfranchisement on Society" belongs to Edgar Mercado. The Board's Improvement Award is given to a member of the senior class who has shown marked improvement throughout the year in academics, athletics, and extracurricular activities. I'm pleased to present this award to Jack McNamara. It's my pleasure to introduce Michael Bradley, former Navy lieutenant and submarine officer, to present the United States naval appointments. After graduating in Kiski in 1997, Michael enrolled in the U.S. Naval Academy, where he majored in electrical engineering. He entered the Navy's nuclear power school after graduation, which is considered to be the most demanding academic program in the U.S. military. Michael left the Navy after 7 years and started his own consulting firm. He lives in Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, with his wife, Sarah, and 3 sons. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Michael Bradley.
Well, thank you, Mr. Novum, and thank you, Chris. Congratulations, Mr. Yoder, Mr. Muffley. and great speech, Mr. Yoder. Mr. Muffley, thank you for the kindness you extended towards me while I was here as a lonesome post-grad, and he was one of my football coaches, and every time I've come back, he's always sought me out to say hello. So congratulations, Mr. Muffley. There's two of the Foundation guys here tonight, but one thing, I'm going to give them their appointment to the Naval Academy, which is through their congressperson, and you have to be accepted through the Naval Academy, but your congressperson also has to give you your appointment. So that's one of the things I'll be giving them. And then also, there's a tradition in the Navy. Well, I was going to say, playing on Mr. Yoder's experience, one of the experiences these two gentlemen will have over the next 4 years, well, they will be saluting a lot of people that outrank them because they will be outranked by everyone. But when they graduate in 4 years, they will be able to receive their first salute. And the salute comes from the medieval days where knights used to wear armor, and you would raise your visor to show that you were a friend to whoever was coming on horseback. Raising a visor became a salute over the years. So when they graduate, they will be saluted for the first time, and it's tradition that you give the person who salutes you a silver dollar. So when I graduated from Kiski in 1997, the gentleman that gave me my appointment gave me a silver dollar. So since I've been coming back the last couple of years, I've brought silver dollars for the Kiski Foundation boys, and maybe when they come back in 20 years and give out appointments, they can bring silver dollars too. So, I was thinking tonight, I'm actually representing the Naval Academy, even though I really feel connected to Kiski, and I feel I am a Kiski boy, but I'm representing the Naval Academy coming here, and I'd like to say thank you to Kiski from the Naval Academy for really making these boys feel welcome every year, and Chris and the faculty and the Kiski boys that have been here for 2 or 3 years prior to their senior year, for welcoming these guys into your class every year, because from a guy that did it, it's a weird experience to come here for your senior year, and thank you from the Naval Academy to the Kiski community. So anyways, so now on with the official statement here. It is my great honor and privilege to stand before you today. This year's Kiski proud tradition of sending young men to the United States Naval Academy continues with these 3 gentlemen: Chris Bonham, Cole Riebenspies, and Michael Stiegman. Please come to the stage. Good to see you, buddy. Just stand right here. These young men walking down the aisle have done more than earn a scholarship to college. They have committed themselves selflessly to serving our nation. Kiski has a long tradition with the United States Naval Academy Foundation. Currently, there are more Kiski graduates enrolled at the Naval Academy in Annapolis than any other high school in the country. The admission office and academic offices at Kiski partner with the foundation to craft a curriculum that will prepare our candidates for the Naval Academy for the rigors they will encounter once they matriculate to Annapolis. We are proud to continue that long line again this year by recognizing these young men with their appointment to the United States Naval Academy. Congratulations on all your accomplishments, and we look forward to hearing from you about your new challenges and adventures and experiences and your very bright future. I think I speak for everyone in attendance when I say thank you in advance for your roles as commissioned officers in the service of your country.
I'd like to introduce Carla Ross, Director of Equity and Collusion.
Would the following seniors please come to the stage? Kanan Blackwell, Jaden Conway, Jalen Cooper, Brennan Crawford, Eric Humphreys, and Savion Jemison. The Fund for Advancement of Minorities Through Education, FAME's mission is to educate, empower, and embolden African American youth to become student ambassadors of today, leaders of tomorrow, and stewards of their communities by providing access to college preparatory education at participating independent schools in the greater Pittsburgh area through the provision of need-based financial assistance. Since 2010, the Kiski School has partnered with FAME to provide these students with a rigorous academic and boarding experience coupled with an impactful series of enrichment opportunities, including college tours, internships, and community service. The Kiski and FAME partnership has graduated 15 FAME scholars, including 2 valedictorians in 2016 and in 2017. Please join me in congratulating our FAME scholars.
I'm very honored to recognize the following students for their good work and outstanding achievements. The Stuhldreher Award is given in memory of Harry Stuhldreher, class of 1920, to that member of the senior class who's made an outstanding contribution to the school's athletic program. I'm pleased to present this award to Griffin Donahue. The William Mckillop Award is presented to a member of the graduating class who, in the opinion of the faculty, has at all times displayed chivalrous conduct on the athletic field. This year's winner is Jonathan Leedy. The E. William Turley Jr. Memorial Award is given in loving memory of Bill Turley, member of the class of 1964, to a member of the senior class who most embodies the qualities of gentleness, propriety, and concern for others that so personified Mr. Turley. This year's recipient is Aaron Zhao. The Jacob Ziegler Award is presented to a member of the senior class who, in the opinion of the faculty, has contributed the most cheer to the school. I'm pleased to present this award to Danny Ritten. The Russell C. Swank Jr. Award is given in memory of Russ Swank, class of 1942, to a member of the senior class whose optimistic outlook and positive school spirit has had a beneficial impact on his classmates and our school. This year's recipient is Rambo Shi. The Kiski International Award is presented to an international student who's a member of the senior class and who's made a significant contribution to the school community through his proven leadership and active participation in organizations and extracurricular activities. This year's recipient is Noe Reese. The Bates Award is given in memory of William Palmer Bates, class of 1929, killed in service to his country in 1945. It is awarded to a member of the senior class who most exemplifies the qualities of honor, sacrifice, and concern for others through dedication to his school and his country. I'm proud to present the Bates Award to Chris Bonham. The William Greer Award is presented in memory of William Greer, class of 1914, to the member of the senior class who's compiled the highest scholastic average. Please join me in congratulating the valedictorian of the class of 2019, Ben Crew. The Faculty Appreciation Award is presented in recognition of the qualities of citizenship and personal responsibility that have made the lives and duties of the faculty worthwhile and rewarding. I'm pleased to present this award to 3 seniors, Ryan Brett, Edgar Mercado, and Kai Wisniewski. The Andrew W. Wilson Award is presented in memory of Kiski's first headmaster to a member of the senior class who best exemplifies the principles on which Dr. Wilson's beloved school was founded: faith, humility, and tolerance. This year, the award is presented to Bryant Garcia. The John A. Pigeon Headmaster's Award is presented to a member of the graduating class who, in the opinion of the faculty and the headmaster, and through exemplary accomplishments, dedicated leadership, and uncompromising habits of mind and heart, embodies the admirable qualities and high standards of Mr. John Pigeon, who served Kiski as a teacher, coach, and headmaster for 45 years. I'm proud to present this award to William Gillis. The Kiski Award is presented to a member of the graduating class who, in the opinion of the faculty and the headmaster, through his scholastic achievements, leadership, breadth of interest, and high personal standards, has been of great value to the school. It's an honor to present this award to Ben Crew. Well, let me say congratulations again to all of our award winners tonight. Thanks. So, I often struggle to come up with a new theme for this annual speech that I give to the seniors, but this year it was easy. The idea for my remarks tonight was presented over spring break when our family took a 2-part trip. First, we went to Megan's parents in South Carolina for a couple of days, and then we traveled to Florida for the rest of the week. On the morning we were leaving for Florida, family was sitting at the breakfast table, and I decided to have a little fun with our 6-year-old son, Sam, who, by the way, loves Florida. I said, "Sam, Mommy and I have decided to go to Florida, just the 2 of us, and leave you and your sister here with Nana and Pop-Pop." Sam, without expression, stared at his grandfather and grandmother for a few seconds, then turned to me and said, "Have you thought this through?" And I knew then that I had the perfect theme for tonight's remarks, thinking it through. Now, I've been working with teenage boys for 30 years, and in that time I've witnessed and celebrated so many of the admirable qualities that make boys unique and enjoyable to work with. Let me assure you that thinking it through is not on the long list of those commendable traits. And yet, its absence is one of the best things about working with boys. They're impulsive and they're nimble, and oftentimes they leap before they look. If you can harness that energy, that's when the magic part of teaching boys happens. But if you're somebody who gets frustrated with this element of boyness, then you're probably not meant to teach at a boys' school. I mean, boys are always forgetting to bring their pencils to class. But they get better as they get older. So if you get bent out of shape in the third day in a row, the freshman forgets to bring a pen to class, you have to remember, as I oftentimes tell my wife, it's not personal. But as the boys get older, they get better, right? How many of you guys seniors tonight, how many of you have a pen in your pocket right now? Raise your hand. Okay, that was obviously a misguided example. Probably a good time to remind the parents that tuition is not refundable. Well, in college, you'll be faced with lots of situations where you'll need to think it through. You'll have much more freedom than you had at Kiski and new temptations to make unwise decisions. Insurance companies have collected a lot of empirical evidence demonstrating that boys don't think it through as well as girls do. They know that women are statistically safer drivers, which means that they're less likely to file a claim, and so they pay lower car insurance rates. A single 20-year-old man will pay 20% more for car insurance than his female counterpart. So unfair. But if you don't realize that women are better drivers than men, just ask your mothers or sisters or grandmothers, because they'll tell you it's definitely true. Now, when I was your age, the summer after I graduated from high school, but before I went to college, I spent a lot of time with my two best friends, Frank and Parag, and we were good kids for the most part. But at the time, street signs were a popular decoration for college dorm rooms. So we got this idea that we should procure a few signs over the summer before we left for college. I know it's hard to believe that I ever did anything bad in my life. So late one Saturday night, we set out on our mission. I was driving Dad's Ford LTD station wagon, vintage, early 70s, complete with wood paneling on the side. It was a sight to be seen. So we navigated to a quiet neighborhood where most of the houses were dark and set our sights on a stop sign at one of the intersections. Now, Frank was about 6'5". I climbed on his shoulders and went to work on the sign with a wrench. Parag was the lookout. We removed the sign, put it in the back of the station wagon, and covered it with a blanket. Now, there was a road in town called Frank Street. And as it turns out, hopefully none of you know this from firsthand experience, but those kind of street signs are a lot more difficult to remove, mainly because the pole is so much higher, but they're also secured on there a lot better. But we did manage to acquire a Frank Street sign for Frank. That by that time it was getting late, and so we decided to head home and made plans to venture out the next weekend to get a sign for Parag. Well, early the next morning, my dad was standing over my bed saying, "Wake up." And he wasn't using his friendly dad voice. "There's a stop sign in my trunk." Still kind of groggy with sleep, I said, "Yeah, that's mine." I wasn't sure what alternate reality I was in, but somehow I just didn't grasp that this was going to be a big deal. And answering my dad with a tone that says, "What's the problem?" was just never a clever strategy. After I explained how our activities of the previous night unfolded, he said, "So you stole it?" And I said, "Well, I guess technically yes." My dad was not a big fan of technicalities. He was a practical, common sense kind of guy. He said, "You know, you're a very smart kid. That sign is there for a reason, so people stop at an intersection." And I can remember looking at him as if to say, "So?" If there's no sign and somebody doesn't stop, they could crash into a car coming the other way. Somebody could get killed. And I can tell you with 100% honesty that until that moment, that thought had never occurred to me. Dad had already put a folding ladder in his trunk, and in a matter of minutes I was dressed, and we were driving to the scene of the crime in broad daylight, and it was raining. I climbed the ladder and reattached the sign, and we drove home in silence. The next weekend, Frank called to plan a time for me to pick them up in the station wagon for part 2 of our plan, getting a sign for Parag. Of course, and obviously, my Ford LTD privileges had been indefinitely suspended, but I was too embarrassed to tell him that story, so I just said I couldn't go. They went out without me, and true story, a neighbor spotted them while they were stealing the sign, called the police, and they got arrested. They spent the night in jail, pled guilty to theft of public property, paid a fine, and were assigned a couple dozen hours of community service. Their parents were furious. And it didn't take very long for me to realize how narrowly I escaped the punishment that I also deserved. But I learned my lesson about thinking it through. The easy solution is not to put yourself in situations where you might be tempted to make careless decisions. It's easier said than done, since being spontaneous is almost always more fun. But there's a difference between spontaneity and impulsiveness. When you do something without thinking through the consequences or how it might impact other people you care about, it can be reckless. If you're purposeful in the decisions you make, you put much less damage to yourself, and you save your folks a whole lot of heartache and pain. You can actually collect experiences, as Mr. Yoder said, while thinking it through at the same time. These are not inconsistent messages. So my theme tonight is not that teenage boys are inherently irresponsible and make bad decisions. My uplifting message is that your school and your parents and your classmates and your friends have hopefully helped equip you to think it through. In your time here, you've had a chance to practice habits of good decision-making. You've been faced with challenges and made some mistakes, but you've learned from them. Yeah, that window I broke in the dorm. Should have thought it through before playing lacrosse in the day room. When I copied and pasted that paragraph from Wikipedia into my history paper, had to go before the HDC for academic dishonesty, I owned up to what I did, and it won't happen again, but I should have thought that through. That time I was making microwave popcorn, and instead of reading the directions or pressing the popcorn button on the machine, I just set the timer for 10 minutes and went back to my room. Oh, as I stood outside on that cold, rainy night, surrounded by everyone else who lives in the dorm, including my dorm master and his family, all of us listening to the loud siren of the approaching fire engine, I can still remember saying to myself, I should have thought that through, but I'm pretty sure I can blame it on Kai. As you embark on your college career, I'd like to ask a favor. Anytime you're in a situation when you're thinking, maybe this isn't a great idea, or asking, am I trying to convince myself that this bad idea is a good idea, I'd like you to hear my voice in your head saying, have you thought this through? Let me apologize in advance for all of the fun you'll forfeit if you follow my advice, but I do hope that I planted a subconscious psychological seed tonight that will blossom when the time is exactly right. It's no secret that we have a great deal of affection for the class of 2019. You're a very special group of seniors, and saying goodbye to you tomorrow is going to be tough. The teachers and coaches and mentors that you've encountered on this campus, we've all done our best to prepare you for the challenges you'll face. We know that you'll make us all very, very proud. Good luck, and God bless all of you. Thanks.
Much of tonight recognized the good and hard work accomplishments from your time here at Kiski. At this point, I would like for you to think briefly about the future. I would like to introduce Steve Salasi, Associate Headmaster for Institutional Advancement, for his words.
Good evening, everybody. Before I get started, I'd like to ask you to please join me in another round of applause for Mr. Yoder and Mr. Muffley. You guys have been just such steadfast teachers and coaches, and you exemplify everything great about Kiski, and we're going to miss you guys so much. And I hope you'll allow us to keep you connected to the Kiski family, because there are so many students and parents and hundreds of alumni who love you guys. And I hope you guys will come back for sporting events and certainly for reunions. And please, please stay connected with us. I'd like to bring the following young men up to the stage, please, and we will acknowledge them in a moment. Please come on up, guys, as I call your name. Ryan Brett, Jalen Cooper, Ben Crew, Griffin Donahue, Bryant Garcia, Ben Foster, Daniel Ritten, Rambo Shee, Kai Wisniewski. It is truly my honor and my pleasure to inform you that the following Kiski seniors have been elected to serve as class captains for the class of 2019. This accomplished and very special group of Kiski boys will work diligently and directly with their classmates to keep them connected to Kiski, as well as to the goals and the mission of the school's advancement office. Serving as a class captain is a very important and consequential role for a Kiski graduate. To be sure, we're happy that this group of Kiski boys has agreed to work with us and to dedicate much of his time, talent, and passion to Kiski and our advancement efforts designed and implemented to keep Kiski strong, growing, and vibrant for many years to come. Tomorrow, the class of 2019 will officially join the Kiski alumni community, and these class captains will help their entire class to fully integrate into the powerful national and international networks of Kiski alumni for their personal benefit and for the greater good of Kiski as well. This evening, I will be handing a very special Kiski class captain lapel pin to each class captain. The pin is a small but very important token of the school's appreciation for and celebration of each of the class captain's services that will be forever dedicated to Kiski and the school's important educational mission. These pins are presented to the class captains from the Office of Advancement and from the school. Now, please join me in acknowledging, thanking, and celebrating this strong and very special group of class leaders for all of their accomplishments and for their loyalty, their dedication, and their service to their classmates, to the advancement team, and to the Kiski School.
Thank you.
Before we conclude tonight's program, there's one more presentation we'd like to share with you. I'd like to thank Craig O'Lear for his help in putting together a heartwarming congratulatory video that celebrates our soon-to-be graduates' passage to becoming the outstanding men that they surely have become today. So with that, please enjoy this video.
May the angels protect you.
tie there. Second, the class photo at 10 o'clock behind Old Main. Please come dressed as always, right? Clean white shirt, blue blazer, gray dress pants, dark socks, dress shoes, and a belt. And thirdly, after we line up, you will process for commencement, where we confer our highest award, the Kiski School Diploma. Thank you again for your attention this evening. Seniors, after this, in about 30, 40 minutes, please make your way to the back of the Student Center for our annual celebration, where you can, hang out, talk about memories of Kiski and all that stuff. All right, I'll say this the last time. Study hall starts in 15 minutes.